Hey, this is Marcus Nichols. Just wanting to show you a few steps on how to refresh a two-stroke motor and a few common problems you're going to run into and need to check before you get it refreshed. Of course, always is your heart. Always check the carburetor. Most likely you have dirt, debris stuck in jets from filter failure or lack of maintenance or sitting up. So always rebuild the carburetor. Right in here on a two-stroke on the head are reeds. Big problem with the reeds. Trash gets in the carburetor, cracks or sticks them open. Therefore, you don't have the right air-fuel mixture ratio. So always take your intake boot off, replace or check your reeds. Now the biggest problem with these motors, it's just going to happen to every one of them. They only last so many hours. Is piston failure. So on the two-stroke, you have no working parts except for a piston and a crank on the top end. Very simple. It's an air compressor. So when the piston fails, you get pieces. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Looks like a squirrel tacked this. That's just a ring that broke off, or a piece of the piston that broke off and failed this motor. This particular one is in need of rebuild. So after you check your head, of course you want to pull your jug out. This is the most important part of a two-stroke, is your jug. So when that piston goes, your jug goes. So you either need to send it off and get it machined and re-sleeved. You can get it re-nickeled if it's not bad, or just replace it with one that is a factory fresh. So you can't see in here, but there's big gouges in this smooth cylinder, and it's just destroyed, so you have to replace that. So after you check your top end and your carburetor and get you a new piston and get everything measured, of course the motor's no good if the bottom end is no good. Now on your bottom end of these two strokes is just a crank, and what you're checking for is where this crank pins to this right here. You want to check the play. You want to go up and down. It's going to have side to side movement. That's fine. You want to check the play on your crank, and if you feel like it's the bearings are good and this crank pin is good, you don't have to bust the case open. So always check that on your bottom end. Most likely it's your jug. Major failures will destroy the bottom end, but most of the time it just hits the jug. So that's a basic laydown of what's going to be the problem, what you need to look at in this motor. Of course, while you have it apart, go ahead and check or replace your clutch. Most likely needs it. Clutch basket, simply get the new clutch kit. Now on this side, under this cover, is your flywheel and your stator, which has already been removed because I sent the stator off to get rebuilt to make sure the electrical and timing was good. And that's your basic layout on a two-stroke motor. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
Alright, anytime you're ready.
Hey, this is Marcus Nichols. Just going to give you a quick rundown on the basics of a two-stroke and what you need to do to refresh this thing. Always start with your carburetor. Clean it out. Make sure there's no gunk in there. Clean the jets. If you have to rejet it, take care of this first. Always check your reed valves. Make sure there's no debris, no cracks. They're sealing. Biggest part. Probably going to have a bad head. Get your head machined, get it redone, or buy a new one. Replace that. And you might even run into a crank. In this case, the failure was bad enough to actually damage the main bearings in the motor. So I'm going to have to remove the stator, remove the flywheel, remove your clutch, and break this case apart and pull out the transmission and crank. Replace the crank. That's your top to bottom on rebuilding this two-stroke. That's the things you need to do. Get your jug done, get the carburetor done, rebuild if necessary. Thanks for watching. Maybe too much.